We've all done it. Maybe not since we've been working with Zed, but we've all done it. In New Zealand last year, there were more than 15 serious injuries and nearly 2 deaths every month caused by distracted driving. And this number will only go up year on year if we don't change the behaviors around distracted driving. There are many different forms of distracted driving, which we'll all have experience with, whether it's eating a messy burger while you're driving or turning around to pass something to your kids. But certainly the leading cause of all distracted driving accidents, by far, have something to do with cell phones. 60% of New Zealand drivers admit to texting occasionally while driving. And we all know that's just the ones being honest. My name's Joel Kiefte. I'm a commercial customer manager for Zed based in Auckland. I'm a company car driver and I spend a lot of my working life behind the wheel. I jumped at the opportunity to lead this session as it's a topic I'm passionate about. And I'm always shocked at how many people I see looking down at their phone while driving. Texting while driving is getting more attention than ever before, and rightly so. In fact, there's currently increased focus from the NZ police to crack down on texting or even looking at your phone while driving. But there's a long way to go. And it goes beyond just texting, which we all know is illegal, but even talking on your phone hands-free, which isn't currently illegal in New Zealand, outside of Zed, that is. When I was a kid growing up in Canada in the late 70s, early 80s, more early 80s than late 70s, just to be clear, I can remember my sister and I sitting right at the back of my dad's old wood-sided Oldsmobile station wagon. That's it right there. Instead of the safe, empty seats right in front of us. We loved rolling around the back as he went around turns and falling forward as he hit the brakes. We once got into a small accident which bumped us around a little harder than normal. No injuries, fortunately, but we thought it was hilarious. Now that I'm a dad and have a concept of both money and personal safety, I can see why my dad looked so stressed and clearly didn't share in our excitement. Since then, vehicle safety has changed dramatically due to technology such as airbags and ABS brakes, and also awareness. For example, seatbelts, which have been around for more than 60 years. Most people will be shocked to see a couple of kids rolling around in the back of a station wagon on the road today, let alone not even wearing their seatbelts. With all the safety benefits around advancing technology, technology also introduces new risks while on the road. Because of mobile phones and all that's evolved with them, there's a growing sense of urgency around communication today. And unfortunately, not everyone knows the risks involved with talking on your phone while driving. The bottom line is, no matter how well you think you can multitask, the human brain just can't focus on 2 things at once. It could only half focus on both. I have to admit, I hesitated to tell my wife that I found scientific evidence that she'd been right all along. When there are too many things happening at once, your brain starts to filter out the things that you might not be aware of. For example, when driving, what you might normally see in your peripheral vision, you might not notice when you're talking on the phone hands-free. It's called inattention blindness. How many of you have experienced driving somewhere and talking on your phone hands-free and getting to the destination having a very limited or even no memory of the journey? It's inattention blindness. An argument I've heard many times is that talking on your phone while driving is the same as talking to a passenger in the front seat. While I can settle this here and now, it's proven not to be the same. In fact, experienced drivers are 38% less likely to crash when chatting to a passenger than they are when talking on their phone. When someone is next to you, you have the added benefit of a second set of eyes on the road to warn you of any hazards that you might miss. For example, anytime I drive my mother-in-law anywhere, you know what's coming, it's a true story. Nearly every time I hit the brakes, for whatever reason, no matter how soft, she grabs the dash and goes, which I always really appreciate. We have a special guest joining us today, giving us unique insights and firsthand experience in the consequences, or witnessing the consequences, of distracted driving. One of our favorite Good in the Hood partners, please welcome Warren Cornor from the Wellington Free Ambulance.
Thank you, Joel, and it's a real pleasure for Wellington Free to be here and talking to you guys today. We really enjoy our relationship with Zed, and working with you and being able to do this. It's fantastic. I'd just like to introduce Amy Williams, who's our heartbeat coordinator. Amy will be answering some questions with me at the end of the session, so if you've got some, think about them as we go through it. One of the things that about being distracted is we all know that we can walk, we all know that we can talk. Often putting those two things together is a little bit of a problem for us, but hopefully this might give us a little bit of an idea.
It is maddening for everyone else. It is an epidemic, texting while walking.
I think we can all say we've all been there, done that in some form or other at some stage. If we can't walk and talk, how the hell can we drive and talk or drive and text? It's impossible for us to be able to do it. There are so many things that distract us as drivers. There are visual things like being on your phone, texting, other things that come along. There are auditory things, other noise within the vehicle, other noise outside the vehicle, the kids sitting in the back seat asking when we're there yet, as they all do, or demanding things from you as a driver. There are manual things that we're doing, and my favourite one with that is, you're out driving around, you're not in your normal local town and you're trying to find the new radio station because you can't work out where it is and the radio's over there, and let's look at the radio and we don't remember where the last couple of Ks have went. There's cognitive things. We're all thinking of the last meeting we've just been to. Did it go well? Did it not go well? How, could I have done that better? Could I have done it different? What am I going to do? Or we're thinking the other way. What am I going to do at the next meeting I'm going to? Or what am I going to do tonight when I go home? What do I need to do at the weekend? What do the kids want me to do? Who do I need to pick up? It's all things that are distracting us as drivers. We're out there, we are distracted, and we're not thinking about what we're doing, which is the principal thing about driving. In our job as ambulance, we pick up the results and the aftermath of a lot of these things that you see in some of the photos. In 2013, distracted driving contributed to at least 21 fatal accidents. It contributed to 170 serious accidents and over 1,100 injury accidents. And you can't tell me when you look at that photo on the bottom there that you can't drive into the back of the truck without being distracted. And that's stuff that we end up as crew picking people up. One of the things that we do, and give you an experience of my own, when cell phones were first out there, and it was really cool to have your cell phone. I went to a very bad accident where a guy was driving back towards Wellington. He was talking to his wife saying, I'm going to be home in about an hour. It's just really great, talking on the phone. Coming the other way was a lovely young family, mum and dad in the front, small child in the car seat at the back. Swiss cheese model came into play. As they drove north, the baby started crying, it needed a feed. Mum turned around, I'm nearly home, I'll take the baby out of the seat and start to calm it down and feed it. Dad's distracted looking at the baby and looking at mum doing this. Guy going the other way, talking on the phone, distracted, and they met in the middle. When they met in the middle, that baby went through that front windscreen like a rocket. Now, we as ambulance are never the first on any scene, or very rarely. It's people like you are the first on the scene. And I can tell you, when you come across those sort of incidents, and hopefully you never do, but if you ever come across those, it leaves a lasting effect on you. It leaves a lasting effect on you and your community, because it affects everybody that's involved with it. And that's what happens when people are distracted. So remember, when you're driving, don't use your phone. Don't be talking on your phone. Concentrate on the job that's at hand. The job you're doing right now, right then, when you're driving, is driving. Nothing else. If you all looked at your cell phones now, I could just about guarantee you the last text message on your phone is not that important. In fact, actually, I'd go even further and just about guarantee the last 100 messages on your phone are not that important. And they are certainly not the last thing you want to remember before you were deceased. We're just going to go through and listen to Amy and one of our other field managers give you a bit of an example of some of the things they
Cool.
say.
Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm a Field Operations Manager for Wellington Free Ambulance. Amy, you go.
And I'm Amy. I'm the Heartbeat Coordinator for Wellington Free Ambulance.
Today we're talking about distracted driving and personal experiences with that. I've personally been to a crash where the driver was distracted. The result was the death of a 2-year-old. It's quite a chaotic scene when you pull up to that kind of thing. Car parts everywhere. In this case we had multiple patients, multiple hurt, multiple distress, and it was a lot to manage. There's not too many jobs that stick with you in this role, but that was definitely one of them.
Quite similar. I've got one that's stuck in my mind. Boy racer drink driving situation, and the following car got out of control, skidded on gravel, rolled about 6 times, smashed into a power pole. Driver and passenger killed instantly, one survivor. Worst part was the driver had just become a father, so left behind a new baby. So again, traumatic scene. You just don't know what you're going to get when you get there.
It's frustrating when you see someone texting and driving after going to that kind of thing, because you know the result. It seems like a cliche, but you drive down the road, you look out your window and there's someone driving just all the way down, and not much you can do about it. But hopefully they think twice.
It doesn't result in them crashing.
So 5 tips for us. Stay alert. Minimise the distractions. I have a friend of mine who loves to talk on his phone when he's driving. So he used to talk on his phone when it was you were able to pull up to your ear, and over the last few years he had 3 accidents doing that. So he thought he'd go all high tech and he'd get Bluetooth and he'd be able to, hands free, and I'm cool, and I can now talk hands free. Well, since he's been hands free, he's had 4 more accidents. Because what happens is, he can't do 2 things at once. He gets so sucked into the conversation that he's having that he forgets that he's driving. And every one of us will have had things where we've been thinking of different things and we can't remember the last few kilometres that we've driven. If you can't remember them, you probably didn't drive them that well. So minimise the distractions. Remember to take regular rest breaks. A lot of accidents happen when people are close to home because they're tired. I'll just push on for the next few Ks and I'll be fine. If you're tired, you need to take a break. Take that break. Take 5 minutes out of your time to take that break. Might save your life. Know your limits. Every person in this room drives differently. Every person in this room has a different understanding and knowledge and experience of driving. So drive within your limits. Know what your limits are and drive within your limits. And drive to the speed limit and adjust your driving to go with the conditions. Today it's beautifully fine. Yesterday it was wet. There's different distractions and different things happen in those spaces. So make sure that you drive to the conditions. It's not something new. Distracted driving has been going on for a long, long time. But you need to remember, if you look at the one on the right, he may have got invited to Nick's party, but it was the last thing that they remember being invited to. So it is really, really important when you're driving, concentrate on what you're doing, because otherwise it's people like us that end up coming and picking you up. But it's not just us, it affects everybody. It's your family, your community, and the cost and process of all of that, and the upset that goes with it is really important.